Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Nich and Jon Is This Evangelion.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm John.
And I'm Nick.
There we go, just clarifying.
And is this Evangelion? Yes, it
It's
is.
something, Nick. I mean, hot damn, we've just watched another episode and
Ooh, yeah.
it's wasn't quite as wasn't quite what I remembered it being.
Yeah, I mean, we've said, I think earlier in this podcast that, you know, like, we thought we loved Evangelion.
We do.
Well, no, we do definitely
absolutely
love it.
absolutely love Evangelion.
But then rewatching it after there being a long period of time since we watched it as kids, or teenagers anyway.
Yeah.
And coupling that with the fact that since then we've maybe become slightly more discerning in our tastes, not only for anime, but generally in stories. And of course we're writing stories of our own as well. So yeah, it's
I know we'll comment on this later, but we've kind of been we've bounced about a bit. We've done like some episodes with the English sub, some episodes with the English dub, and I have some thoughts on the viewing experience and how this contributes to it. But we'll touch on all this later. But I have some theories there.
Have we stuck with the dub so far for this?
I swear we've done one of one.
Oh,
one
really?
of the other. I think we've alternated.
That's a mess.
Yeah, that is a mess.
Well, we
yeah.
were on the dub today.
We were on the dub today.
And today was the introduction of Toji Tsutahara.
And
Kensuke.
Kensuke. Yeah, Ken.
Ken with an S-U-K-E.
Kenny and Kensuke and Toji. So, should we dive into the synopsis
what
and break
happened?
it down?
Yeah.
What was it called, this episode?
This was called The Phone That Never Rings.
The Phone That Never Rings, yeah, which sounds like an episode of...
It's like the most
Morrison's
emo
Doomed.
title
Yeah.
yet, I think. I mean, let me just scan back. First episode was called Angel Attack. And that's pretty anime.
On the nose.
Second episode, The Beast. You know, okay,
Pretty
it's still
grand,
good,
yeah.
still grand, epic. Next one, let's see how Shinji we can make the title, The Phone That Never Rings. And of course, it's alluding to the fact that Shinji has been given a mobile
has a phone.
and has no friends, and no one's calling
He doesn't
him.
ring anyone. No one rings him. Doesn't get any texts because this is the distant future of 2015. And they don't exist. And
Instead, they have cyber attacks.
he has no. He has no.
I haven't got any cybers today. Yeah.
Saber.
Yeah. Check my
Meanwhile,
WhatsApps. None of those. Check my Facebook message. None of those.
In the distant past future of 1997, 2015.
Yeah,
Okay.
with all these blocky laptops and everything.
So, okay, bang. Tokyo 3,
Yeah.
2015.
Cicadas
Galore, and... Oh,
It's
God,
Katsuragi's on the phone to Ritsuko, and we're seeing sort of lots of panning shots of the apartment. And basically, she's just saying, I don't think he's got any friends.
I don't think that's even the opening.
Is it? Was it not?
Isn't this weird? Like, we've just watched
Pretty
the
sure it
episode.
is.
I can't even...
I think that is how it opened.
But didn't it open and... But later on, she's having another
Oh,
conversation.
no, it opens with him training. Sorry.
Yeah, there
it
we
opens
go.
with him training in the Ava, in Unit 1.
Action, yeah. So
Yeah.
we see Shinji's in the cockpit, and he's very subdued.
He is. He seems very defeated. And he's being asked if he's done all his revision.
And he's like, yep,
Do you know where all the entry points are?
yep,
Do you know where all the weapon slots are?
yep,
Do you know where I left my keys?
yep. No, Shinji, do you know where to find happiness? Yes. No.
Do you have any friends?
Looks
No.
to the side, bites knuckle. The Eva reaches up and bites his knuckle. I'm so lonely.
Tear runs down the Ava's purple
Where's Shinji?
cheek.
He's training. Smash cut to the Eva Unit 1 sitting in a corner, rocking.
Activate rocking mechanism.
It's got a... Shinji, we're sending you a cold shower.
A skyscraper unfolds.
Just like rocking.
There's a little shower cap on a hook. And a loofah.
It's on a bit in Casino Royale.
Yeah, or Ace Ventura.
Daniel Craig comes in, starts hugging Eva Unit 1.
Drops a colossal loofah the size of a double-decker bus onto an innocent orphanage.
Yeah. It's like every time, like, I can't remember if this is in the movie or later on, but they'd have, like, you know, Eva Unit 1 firing, like, a massive rifle, and then smash cut to the ground, and there's, like, shell casings the size of VW Beetles kind of, like,
just...
raining to the ground.
Yeah. That happens a lot in Fully Cooley as well, I think.
So, yeah, training Shinji is his usual exuberant self, but even more so than usual. Like, he's just monosyllabic. He's just saying yes, yes. Yeah, and he's
just
in the cockpit.
using a targeting reticule to line up and shoot virtual angels over and over again.
And that's the thing, like, he is fighting these kind of simulations of the previous angel.
Yeah.
Which we, I can't remember what it's called.
Satchel?
Like, Satchel, yeah. Satchel.
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 Over the shoulder. Satchel.
And
I'd love a satchel styled after satchel.
it's just got the arms.
It's just his arms hugging around my torso, and then
well, like at the end.
Yeah,
when it
exactly.
Hugged, when it hugged
He's
Eva,
like a backpack then, except on the front and over your face, and suffocating you to death,
and it just
exploding.
inflates and just gets bigger. But the thing is, like, he's in this training simulation and he's shooting like representations of Satchel, and yet Satchel is acting nothing like
he's just
did.
standing still.
He's just standing there. I think if anything, it's filling him with a false sense of confidence,
which is evident from the battle that comes later on in this episode, where everything he tries to do, he then gets attacked for. Like, I don't want to skip ahead, but he steps out of. We'll get to this in a minute, but he steps out to attack the angel in this episode and starts shooting it with the rifle, exactly like he was doing in training, like down to a T, exactly what he was doing. And the first thing Masato says is like, "No, you idiot!" This is like, what?
Well, this is like what we said in the first 5 minutes, because he's in this training thing, he's shooting angels, and you said, oh, he's in like virtual reality. I don't think he's even plugged into an.
No, I thought he was in like a sort of simulator sort of thing. Yeah.
And then but no, he is actually in EVA Unit 1.
Which Eva is standing in a big white room, holding a rifle, but there's no bullets coming out.
It's like a little glowing light
in
the end. Like they built. Why? It's unnecessary.
They built a training rifle for the aimer.
They built a training rifle the size of like the Golden Gate Bridge just for him to hold, and it's ridiculous. And
what's the budget? Seriously.
And one of like the many technicians whose name I just can't remember goes like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Shinji's piloting it again."
Yeah, he agreed to pilot it again.
And Ritsuko just goes like, "Yeah, seems like he'll do anything you tell him."
He's just one of those people who just does what he's told.
He's a real loser.
Yeah, what an idiot. I mean, we guilt-tripped him into piloting this in the first place by wheeling out an injured / close to death Rey on a stretcher and forced him into the cockpit because otherwise the world would end. But yeah, what a loser.
That's the thing, like, the whole thing about Evangelion, and like, in all the fandom of it, is that Shinji is kind of useless. And we are completely, going into this again, rewatching it, we were completely ready to just hate on Shinji. And yeah, bless him, there's a lot to hate.
To some extent, he doesn't do a lot for us.
But also, like, every adult around him is either incompetent or irresponsible or actively malicious towards him.
I mean, this is a 14-year-old boy who, until about 2 days previously, had never even seen an Eva before. Was forced into life or death battle in a machine he wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
And now all they can do is say how much of a loser he is.
Yeah, utterly guilted into it. And they're like, well, if you don't do it, the world's going to end. He's like, I don't care. Fine, well, if you're not going to do it, and as you said, here is this crippled, half-dead girl, and they push her out on a wheelchair just so she can fall off and bleed on him.
I bet it was just a wax model. You know, I bet they just have a load of them out the back. I'll just wheel another one out because we've got a pilot who won't pilot it again.
No. It's just like a blood sack. She falls over and he picks her up.
They get it from the guilt room. Get another guilt token out.
Oh, my life. And so, yeah, and then when he does it, like, after they guilt him into doing it, they're just like, yeah, what a loser.
He just does what he's told.
What an absolute loser. He's got no backbone. Won't stand up for himself.
Like, what?
Crying out loud.
Ritsuko, you get in the cockpit then, huh?
It's like, after the post-apocalyptic event of Second Impact, it's like child services just fell by the wayside.
They were hit by the meteor. They were based in Antarctica and they were hit by the meteor, and there was just no child services anywhere.
It's why there's all these kind of like things which don't make sense about the world at all, because it's like you'd think, oh, it's post-apocalyptic, kinda, like maybe they're just grateful if another day goes by where they can have food and they can't be asked with all this kind of namby-pamby, let's look after, vulnerable 14-year-olds. But then it's like, no, there's school, there's television, there's infrastructure,
there's
society.
Internet, apparently, phone networks.
The society is kind of ticking along, and yet no one cares just how badly Shinji is being treated this whole time.
I mean, I've thought about this before with Evangelion. It's just like, I still feel like it's quite a fresh view of the apocalypse in a funny sort of way. Like, I feel like humanity would probably do its best to continue with a lot of things we were used to, like computers, electricity, phone networks, all that kind of stuff. And there's a very good chance that even post a massive cataclysm like that, we would still, maybe 10, 15 years after the event, do everything we could to get all that infrastructure back and quite possibly manage it as well. So I don't think it's entirely unbelievable, but it's very hard to sort of believe in it. That's what's really weird. It's
interesting because I can think of... I think these were in the movies, like the rebuild of Evangelion. Don't, at one point, they go to like a water park?
Yes, they do.
Now, you see, that was a more interesting bit of world building.
That might be in the series.
Do you know, maybe
But either way,
yeah.
we'll discover it on the way. But either way, yes, isn't it significant because they've got like penguins and sharks?
Because
and stuff
the
there,
oceans
and they're like
the oceans have all turned red, haven't they?
It's like an exotic, like endangered species.
Yeah, and they have like a blue whale.
Yeah,
in a massive aquarium.
Why isn't it a red whale?
Like this is like the only piece of like clean seawater we could get, and it's like that's
sealed the filtration system.
Yeah, like that's interesting. That's really clever. But it's like you never really get any sense of, and we touched upon this last episode as well. There's a few throwaway lines where they say like, "Oh, the government like have covered this up," or like Nerve are like actively lying to people but you never get any real sense of, do people know that the angels are attacking, that they're aliens?
This is it, yeah. I mean, it doesn't even seem like Nerve knows for sure. Like, obviously the people at the top, like Sele and all that lot, seem to know. But even the people who work, like the technicians that we were talking about, the nameless, faceless technicians.
Yeah, the many technicians who will follow us throughout the entire series.
That Misato shouts orders out, and they're all behind the monitors and everything, typing away. Do they know what the angels are?
Yeah.
And we were talking, weren't we, while we were watching this episode? It's like, I'd love to see a story which is the civilian point of view on everything that's happening. It's like, where are the shelters that they go to when the angels attack?
Well, and maybe it was like just maybe it was like a cost-cutting thing. There wasn't time to really explore these things, but I feel like I filled in a lot more of the blanks in my head.
Well, it's the world builders in us, I think. But we were excited about that world and what that meant.
But it's weird. But these questions I'm seeing now, watching it again, I don't recall ever bugging me the first time round.
No, me neither. No, absolutely.
Now I'm thinking like.
But I think when I watched it the first time round, it felt so. And to be fair, it still does. It felt so different to everything else I'd ever seen, everything else I'd ever consumed. And it was like, if in stories before, if it was an apocalypse event, then everyone was now reduced to cavemen. That was the go-to thing. If there was an apocalypse event, it was like, did you ever see that horrible remake of The Time Machine with Samantha Mumba in? Yeah. It was like that, when he goes really far into the future and society has collapsed and everyone is just like primal again, basically. And that was the go-to thing for apocalypse. But this was an apocalypse, but then there seemed to be everyday life. And I think as a kid, I was just so blown away by how different it was. Like, this is so unusual. That I didn't ask any of the important questions which we're asking now.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like the sea level has risen.
Yeah.
The Earth is hotter.
Yeah. The oceans are red.
Isn't there like a throwaway line at some point? Or maybe I'm dreaming this. And I can't remember if this was in the movie or in the original, where they say like, I don't know, even just a throwaway line that like meat is really rare or something like that, or it's hard to like
that does sound kind
like
of
fish.
Familiar. There's a scene where Asuka is cooking.
Yeah.
For Shinji in an attempt to try and... Or is it Rei? One of the girls is cooking for Shinji in an attempt to try and impress him.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's a comment made then about the food, that she's got hold of some food that was otherwise rare or hard to get hold of.
That's what I'm trying to think, because like, I've seen several post-apocalyptic things where meat is really hard to get hold of, and like they're living more on fish. But this might be the opposite, because if the seas have all turned red...
Yeah, it can't have any fish.
So maybe fish is really rare.
And then all there is meat.
Yeah.
But that's interesting for Japan, I suppose, because of course they eat a lot of fish.
Yeah, you'd think, wouldn't you? Well, sorry, no, I all I can think of are things I want to kind of like say about this episode, but that kind of falls more into the commentary.
Yeah,
bit.
We've already gone off the synopsis.
Yeah,
already.
Sorry,
let's
power through the synopsis, because it's not going to take long. There's not a massive amount happens in this episode.
No.
So we were saying, like, so Shinji's training.
Yeah.
Then, and just looking morose.
Yeah. Then it cuts to Misato talking to Ritsuko on the phone. About
that was it. Sorry, I don't want to. What's her name again? This is terrible.
Which one?
Main commander Misato, of the red jacket and the short shorts.
The very short shorts.
Yeah. I just want to say very quickly, like, society, like, is not what it was. She drinks a lot of beer.
She does.
So apparently it's still easy to get hold of beer.
Yeah, there's something about the beer though as well, I think, though. Isn't it like super
it's
artificial?
Not
like... Yeah.
Just gets really excited while drinking
It's just a can of heroin.
Yeah, apparently heroin did really well after the apocalypse.
This is perfect growing environment for heroin.
Okay, I apologise. That was very rude of me. Sorry. Please continue.
No, it's fine. So then they're talking about... Yeah, they're on the phone talking about Shinji, how he even left his mobile at home because...
He's ungrateful.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Like, it's kind of build like that, because Misato's like, I bought this phone for him and it never rings. It's like, that's because he has no friends. And then I think it cuts to the morning, because that's a phone call in the evening.
Yeah.
And Misato is all bundled up in bed, and you don't really see her other than a hand poking out.
Yeah.
And Shinji's going to school. It's the morning of a school day.
Because she is his legal guardian.
And he's living in her apartment.
And he's been at school for like 2 weeks now.
Has he? This isn't his first day.
No, she does say like.
Oh, that's right, because she says how's school, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's been at school for like 2 weeks. I bought him a mobile phone.
That's right.
And the grateful
He
sod.
obviously has no friends.
Yeah,
man.
he's not even using it.
Yeah. So he basically leans into a room, and she's just completely bundled up in the quilt.
Probably hungover.
Probably
hungover.
I think there are beer cans everywhere.
On heroin.
Yes. Heroin ale. And she says something to the effect of, "Oh, don't wake me up! Like I don't have to be at work until the evening. You're such a poo. Like you're such a loser. Why do you have a backbone? Would you listen to on that Walkman over and over again?"
Throws a can at his head.
Tonk. Could you take the rubbish out on your way out?
And he's still like really morose. Like this is kind of like leading off that conversation where, oh, he's just one of those people who'll do anything you tell him, and she's like, "Don't bother me." He's like, "Okay."
To be fair,
take the bin out. Okay.
Okay. But there is a moment in that conversation where she doesn't want to be woken up. She's obviously hungover. She went to bed late, whatever. But she does say, "How is school?"
Yes.
So there's a little aspect of her caring, and I think maybe of anyone in the story, Misato cares the most about Shinji. That's not saying very much.
Yeah, shows it in very odd ways.
Definitely. Yeah.
But then he goes to school. We meet his eclectic group of classmates,
of which there are not very many, and this is made very clear.
But this is weird though, isn't it? Because there's a classroom, it's mostly empty, and a few characters say, "Oh, where is
all
everyone?"
the other kids?
And people go, "Well, they've left
They've
because
evacuated.
who would want to live in this city after a great big robot attack,
Yeah.
a robot battle?"
Yeah.
And fine, but when there's an extra class, it's a full. There's like 30 odd kids
That's
in there.
true. There is.
Doesn't
yeah.
make any sense.
No. Maybe it's still not a full class.
Yeah.
But
we
either
need-
way, we see two new characters. We see Kensuke and Toji, and the class rep.
Yes, who probably has a name.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But Kensuke
Yeah.
is obsessed with filming.
Yeah, he's got a video
things,
camera.
which is a thing throughout the series. He always has a video camera.
Yeah.
And
So he's filming up people's noses.
Toji, I can't remember any of the names. It's terrible. Toji
You're a bad person.
is
He's
always
in
wearing like a
tracksuit.
tracksuit.
Almost
There
like
we
a
go.
shell suit, actually. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone else wears full school uniform and looks exactly the same, except for Toji, who
Yeah,
wears.
and
I
Toji-
think he is meant to be athletic, 'cause he's like tall, he's good looking, he's like chiseled. And I think he's meant to be like he's going to be the big foot. He's got hoop dreams. He's got major hoop dreams. Colossal hoop dreams. He's got Evangelion hoop dreams. He wants to
And-
pilot an Ava and score the biggest hoop.
But Toji has been away for a couple of weeks.
Yes, and Kensuke didn't know why. No
It's-
one knew why.
And it's like, hey, bud, where you been? Did you get mixed up in that giant robot fight?
And he's like, no, I didn't.
But my sister did.
And you find out that she was crushed in some rubble literally during the fight.
Not killed,
Shinji's
but
first
she's
fight.
very badly injured.
And she's in hospital.
She's in hospital.
And it sounds like she's maybe stable, but Toji is very angry that the pilot was so retarded, basically.
Yeah, he's basically like, what an idiot
Mm.
that pilot was. How could he have done this? I hate him so much. And then, as this weird kind of logical leap, Kensuke then just goes, hey, there's a new kid in class. And it's like, oh? He goes, yeah, he's been here 2 weeks. That's just after the giant robot attack. And he goes,
Coincidence.
isn't that odd? It's like, there's no... Why would you...
Why would you assume that a 14-year-old classmate of yours was a pilot of a colossal giant purple
Yeah,
robot?
it requires so many logical leaps to even get to that point.
Yeah.
It's like there's a precedent. Oh yeah, all robots are piloted by 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's no precedent in this world. Like, for all we know, EVA Unit 1 and its big battle with Satchel...
Didn't even have a pilot.
Well, for all we... How do you know
Because
it
it's
has
been
a
a robot.
pilot?
Yeah.
And also, that is the first time a giant robot has ever been deployed
Yeah.
to protect the Earth.
Yeah.
And the history of humanity.
And this sort of leads back into the why don't we see more of the civilian eyes on this? Because, like, what is their reaction to seeing a giant purple robot battling an insanely
Yeah.
weird and unusual creature that they've never seen
Yeah.
before in their city?
Because all the general public would know is that there was a horrible, massive explosion around the turn of the millennium,
Yeah.
which screwed the world over, killed like 1 billion people,
Yeah.
or more. It's
They're
like,
told it's a meteor, aren't they?
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
So they
'cause
think
it's
a
in class.
meteor hit. Yeah, because we see a bit of this classroom, and they're saying meteor hit the Earth, changed the climate, raised sea levels, turned the oceans red, and humanity's been reduced to like 1 billion, and we're making do now. So they have no precedent or a framework to understand that giant monsters are now going to appear, and that humanity has built robots to defend us.
No. No, none of that.
And then Kingski goes like, hey,
You know what? I reckon he's the pilot.
new kid in class is probably him.
Probably pilot.
And he's not even sitting in the protagonist window.
No, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
As in every anime, the main character is always sitting in that one chair by the window.
Always by the window, second from the back.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
Utterly ridiculous.
It does, however, have the shot of the classroom name label, the 2A, on the little sticky out
Which every
sign, which every
anime. It's
set
always
in
that
high
one
school always
corridor
has.
as well. Yeah,
exactly.
But Ray is also in class as well.
She is bandaged up with an eye patch.
All bandaged up, and no
one's asking any questions about
it's
that.
ridiculous. No one's like, "Hey, that girl."
Hey,
like,
A, who is she? B, what happened?
Also, she's got like red eyes and white hair. What's up with that? No, it's fine.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Boring lesson, history lesson. Guy, old teacher going, yeah. Meteorite hit the Earth. Bang. You know, now we're all here. And all the kids have a little red laptop.
Which is quite cool, actually.
It
looks like a Pokedex.
It does look like a Pokedex, yeah. And a little Shinji gets like a little PM, like a little private message.
Yeah, bing, bing.
And he just goes, "Are you the pilot? Yes or
Y
no?"
or N. And then he looks over his shoulder, and it's two sort of giggling schoolgirls who we've never seen before.
And it's like waving, "Hi."
Like 4 rows
hi.
back. And then they do it again. Are you the pilot? Y or N on the screen.
Lol.
And a little smiley face and a turd. and then he just goes, yes. Just types yes on his laptop.
And everyone goes,
and
it's not even like, sweet mother of pearl, this is the most incredible revelation in the history of humanity. No, it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, that's really cool. We were right.
Yeah.
We
what
guessed
matters
it.
the most is that we were right. And then they all gather around him mid-lesson, but the teacher's looking out the window. And they're all chatting, asking him loads of questions like, what's its special move? One of them asks, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe this indicates the precedent that maybe they have that the robot will have a pilot is that maybe they have mecha anime.
I reckon they have mecha anime.
So they saw
in
the
this
giant robot.
post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, and they're like, someone must be
We
piloting
don't have
that.
fish anymore.
It must be a kid.
But someone's still making anime.
Yeah, someone. So yeah, they all gather around. He's now suddenly the superstar.
Everyone loves him.
Everyone loves him except
Except
in the background
Toji.
you see Toji sitting there looking very grumpy.
Big old
indeed.
Toji. Smash cut.
Smash
to
cut.
Smash mouth.
Smash in the face.
Of Shinji getting punched in the face.
A big punch. Check us out, bigpunchstudios.com.
Check out Smash Mouth.
Also check out, the excellent 90s band Smash Mouth.
And Toji's like, sorry, bro. What up, bro?
But this is it.
Yeah.
Like, we can talk about Toji's voice acting in a second, but Toji's reason for punching Shinji in the face is, it's not your fault, bro. It's just I've got some anger, and I thought the best way to vent it was to punch you. That's practically what his line is.
It's like, sorry, bro, you saved the world, but you hurt my sister.
But he doesn't say that.
No,
this is my thing.
yeah.
He says, it's not your fault. I've got some anger, and I thought the best way to vent it was punching you. But that's not true at all, Toji. The reason you're punching him is because he is to blame for your sister's
It's
injuries.
like you forgot the memo.
It's like he did.
Yeah.
It's like he forgot his whole reason for punching him.
It's like, it's not your fault, man. I quite like you. I think you're a cool dude. We should hang out now. I'm going to punch you now.
I'm going to punch you.
Yeah.
I've just got to punch you.
Call me.
It's what I do.
Ring, ring.
I punch people. I punch people I like.
Punches him, and he's written his number in reverse
On
his
a knuckle
knuckles. And when he punches him, it leaves an imprint on his face. Like,
You got it. You got my number. I have. It's on your face.
call me. Having a sick kegger.
And then Kensuke sort of leans in and just goes, "Oh, he's a bit mean, isn't he? He's a bit tough to Shinji."
Yeah, he's not even like you deserve that. It's just like, yeah, he's a bit of an asshole.
And then Shinji decides to the only thing Shinji says is, "I didn't want to. They made me pilot it."
Yeah, they made me pilot that stupid machine or something like that.
Which isn't the greatest defense, but it does also suggest that, look, I'm not willingly smashing your sister to pieces.
I didn't want this.
No one wanted this.
I didn't want this.
No, not like this.
I didn't ask for this, Madam Jackson.
Just imagine if Shinji's voice was like that all the way through. No.
I'm so alone.
Then Toji seems to turn, having heard this.
Yep.
Comes straight up to Shinji, grabs him by the collar, and it's just like...
Shinji won't look him in the eye.
No. What
But
does he
Shinji
say then?
won't defend himself or anything.
Toji just says
I don't
something
think
then.
he says anything. Does he not just
No, I think there's just a lot of...
Yeah, can we put a pin in the sound design? Because I want to talk about that later as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the talk about it bit. So yeah, he throws him to the ground.
It's like, you're not even worth my fists.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dirty my fists on your face.
And then lying on the ground, you just see Shinji's view looking up at the sky, and then suddenly Rei walks into shot, who's like standing sort of just over him.
Yeah, did nothing.
It's just like, there's an emergency.
We have to go.
It's like,
I'll go first.
And I think I said at that point when watching it, is that the official way Nerve gets its pilots to come to just hearsay? You know, it's like, oh, Ray, while I've got you on the phone, could you just grab old Shinji, pilot of Unit 1, bring him down to the headquarters? Thanks, bye.
She uses a mobile.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Shinji's got an
Her phone does ring.
Shinji's on WhatsApp. It's Nerve saying, Shinji, yo, we need you.
Ray's got one contact. It's just Gendo. Just called Daddy. Papa Gendo.
Papa 76.
No, not Papa 76.
And
so, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, emergency, sirens, and a great big lobster angel.
Space lobster.
Space lobster is flying above the ocean.
Yeah, no claws though. It's sort of like a long. It's like just the body of a lobster. So it's like its head, middle thorax, and then back end.
Shall I look this up so we can get the name?
Good idea.
Work out what it is because we're so prepared.
I might have it up actually.
Oh yeah. So anyway, so basically, giant.
Oh no, this is Satchel. Oh, sorry.
No!
What was the one before?
What was the previous one?
Oh, jeez.
Are you sure?
Angels. Goodness me. So prepared.
Evangelion. But anyway, look, this great big space lobster angel is attacking, and Adam.
Shamshell. Sorry, the first one was Satchel. This I'm misreading that.
I was the second behind you. Shamshell.
Shamshell appears.
Right.
Which is good because it has a shell.
Shamshell.
We can remember that.
Shamshell. So Shamshell, the fourth angel, is attacking, and it's a great big red lobster, and it flies in across the ocean. Nerve do their thing, and they're like, haha, we're 1-to-1 on the angel.
Yeah.
1-for-1 on angels. So
we can take this one down.
Let's send Shinji in. So the entire city goes into defense mode. Anything could happen in the next half hour. And the entire city descends below...
ground level.
And they send in Shinji, and... You know, they rocket EVA Unit 1 up to the surface.
Yep.
And,
in a skyscraper.
Yeah, and he steps out of the sky like a skyscraper just
like
opens.
A cubicle.
Yeah, like a little porta potty, and he just steps out.
He's just had a big poo.
And he's got a great big rifle. And
he spins round.
And they go like, okay, Shinji, you know what to do. Remember your training.
We've seen all the training earlier at the beginning of the episode. It's like, right, Shinji, all you have to do is wait for the reticules to line up, pull the trigger.
Big emphasis on, basically
big
just
emphasis
aim,
on do what
fire.
you did in the training.
Aim, fire.
So
aim,
he does
fire.
exactly that. As I have mentioned earlier in my rant.
No personality, no thought. He just follows orders, goes, aim, fire.
And he does. And he holds the trigger down, and lots of smoke and dust is kicked up by his bullets.
He just keeps firing.
Completely obscures the angel. He doesn't know any longer necessarily what he's aiming at. But he is still doing what he was told to do. At which point Misato goes, "No, you idiot!
You're shooting him too much." Whatever you do, shoot the angel. Gotcha.
You're winning too much.
But not too much. Oh, okay. So,
hold on.
Okay, so don't shoot him. No, definitely shoot him.
And keep shooting him.
How much should I shoot him?
Don't do it too much.
But I want to lots of shooting.
Lots of shooting, but not too much shooting.
Okay, so
I don't know how I can make this clearer, Shinji.
I'm confused. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Tell me what you're confused about.
Look at the diagram. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. Could make that clear.
Cool.
So he fires. Shamshell gets obscured by smoke, and they're like, "No, Shinji, you massive idiot!"
Yeah, if I could slap you right now with a giant Ava hand,
I would.
I might.
and Shamshell, as it turns out, has great big laser whips,
which he hasn't hitherto revealed.
Yeah, and these laser whips can
come out of the smoke,
cut through anything.
Yeah,
and they slice a skyscraper in half.
And Shinji dodges it, falls back. It's like, holy pooch, that was not expected.
And Shinji finally shows an emotion, which is terror.
Shock.
Starts screaming and running for his life.
Yep. And he sort of runs backwards down a big city street, and Shamshell pursues, just cutting buildings in half
slicing
with these laser tentacle whips.
Meanwhile,
we see Toji and Kensuke in a shelter.
Yes, wherever this is.
Yes. Kensuke is bemoaning the fact that he doesn't get to see what's going on.
Because he loves filming.
He loves filming it, and he really wants to. So he goes, Toji, can you help me get up there? We can get a good view of what's cracking off. And Toji's like, all right then. And so they go pretend they go need a wee, and actually Toji does have a wee, a very long
scene in which they're urinating.
Yeah, that's right.
And he goes like, I need your help to open the blast door.
Yeah, and then it just cuts, and the blast door's open, and they're out.
You never even see the door.
And it's a huge door. It's like 3 foot thick. Like, it's got lasers and locks. It's insanely advanced.
As we said at the time, it is too complex for one 14-year-old boy to break through, but two 14-year-old boys
it doesn't stand a chance.
Running in parallel.
A glass door against more than one 14-year-old. I wouldn't know how to build that.
So they're on a hillside.
Yeah.
Watching this battle.
Looking out over the city, watching the battle, and he's filming it.
Just in time for EVA Unit 1, which, bear in mind, is at least 300 foot tall.
Yeah.
At least. To go to come flying through
Knocked
the air.
into the air, yeah.
So it's
Pirouettes.
the heaviest single thing ever made by humans. Comes flying through the air, smashes into this hillside.
Yeah.
Doesn't throw up a crater.
No crater. Not really much chaos, actually.
Not a dent or anything. No smoke.
It just lays flat on its back, star-shaped, on the side of a mountain.
And Shinji looks down, and between his fingers are Toji and Kensuke. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Like, fine. The shockwave alone would have liquidized their bones. And they're absolutely fine. And, I can't remember her name. Misato, yeah.
Yeah.
Is like in command center watching it all. She's like, we have to retreat. Shinji, get them into the cockpit.
Oh, we should mention that in the earlier slashing of the laser tentacles, his umbilical cable was cut.
Oh, very important.
So we're in the 5-minute countdown now.
Yeah, so he's running out of power.
Yeah. He's at about 3.5 minutes now.
And they're like, Shinji, you got to retreat. We can regroup.
And we'll take it on.
Yeah, quick, save those 2 kids, invite them into the cockpit.
Yeah.
Like, how
immediately that happened, we were just like, with?
Because you have to think about like the size of EVA Unit 1.
Yeah.
And
we get this shot of it sort of sat slightly up, so it's sat on its bum, and it's like raised its back off of the ground.
Yeah, this titan.
And you see its spine unfold and the plug come out, which must be, as you pointed out, 100 foot off the ground.
Yeah, and they're like
7 or 8 stories off the ground. Like, hey, just pop in.
There's no ladder.
No, there is a door on the side of the entry plug. There's no ladder. There's no... I mean, it would have taken them 20 minutes just to climb the surface of the Ava just to get up there.
And
but hey, we're
above it.
We're nitpicking it.
Yeah, and it's like, so they're in and they climb into the kind of entry plug, which of course is full to the brim with LCL, liquid, which you breathe.
Yeah, it's another question, like, how do you get in? Because when Shinji gets in, the cockpit then fills after he's got in, after it's sealed. So if they've opened it, broken the seal, some would come out, then they get in, then close it. How does it refill?
Yeah.
Loads of questions.
And immediately, the EVA starts kind of malfunctioning.
Yes, you see all of the synchronization waves go out of alignment again.
And Ritsuko's like, what the hell did you expect? There are now 3 brain waves in the cockpit.
There's loads of neural noise.
How does he even know what to synchronize with? It's ridiculous. And
which
also,
is true.
And can we point out at this point, there's a shot of Ritsuko.
Yeah. Obviously an off day on the artist who was drawing her.
She's all leg and no torso. No. I remember looking at her thinking, gosh, her skirt's short. And you kind of look at it and think, no, her torso is tiny.
If you just track up to where her crotch would be, it's like sort of the middle of her rib cage. Her arms look so long. It's bizarre. It's like an ape.
And
anyway,
we're in the final moments of the episode, and basically, Misato. I'm having a moment. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Misato. There are too many
before John has a stroke.
boys in my entry plug. I can't. Neural noise.
I don't think you need to say that ever again.
Yeah, that's my activation phrase.
Any 14-year-old boy.
I suddenly realised I'm a Russian sleeper agent. And she's like, "You've got to retreat, Shinji." And Shinji is just like going, "I mustn't run away. I mustn't run away. I mustn't run away."
No precedent for that.
No.
Like there's been no like pressure from his dad or something, like in foreshadowing about how he always used to run away and his dad always used to tell him not to. Nothing.
No.
It's just suddenly, I mustn't run away, for not really any reason at all.
Yeah.
Other than maybe he's showing a little bit of his own spine. I don't know.
But he whips out the entry knife.
The progressive knife.
Progressive knife, sorry, which looks like... This is the thing I always find amazing. Like, it's not like an amazing lightsaber or anything. It looks like just like a little Bowie knife.
Yeah.
Like and
it's like the kind of thing you'd buy from B&Q.
Yeah, and Asuka has like a Stanley knife, doesn't she?
Yeah, like a Stanley knife. That's what I was.
But it's just made. It's the size of a bus.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
It pops out of his epaulets.
So he grabs a knife and he completely disobeys the order.
Yeah, this is 1 minute left on the counter. Misato's like, retreat. He's like, no, I'm gonna fight it.
Charges towards Shamshell.
Yeah.
Kind of skidding down the side of his hill, grinding.
Yeah, doing a sick grind.
Doing a sick Oliver.
Yeah, he got loads of combos for that.
And
then Misato's like, you need to obey my orders. And he's like, rah.
No! And he stabs the progressive knife into the S2 engine, the heart
The
of
red orb, which is luckily incredibly exposed on this angel. Like,
Yeah, it's
really
bad design.
Just
bad
really
design.
out there, yeah.
And he screams.
Scream!
And
And
he
there's loads of
screams.
sparks showering. Ah! And
he
you see the
screams
counter,
more,
it's counting
keeps
down 50
screaming.
seconds, 40 seconds. Ah!
Still screaming,
Still screaming.
still
We cut to
screaming.
Toji and Kensuke. They're looking on with horror. He's screaming. There's sparks everywhere.
Our voice actor spent 4 years treading the boards with the Royal
20
Shakespeare
seconds.
Company just to do a 30-second scream.
10 seconds.
Still screaming.
Suddenly, about 4 or 5 seconds before energy runs out in the Ava, we see the S2 engine crack.
Yep.
Which suggests, oh, he's got through.
Yep.
And then 0 on the counter. Dum.
Yep.
The Ava stops dead. And we're left with a silhouette shot of the Ava with his hands and knife stuck into the soul of this also still and dead angel.
Yeah.
And they're just like 2 huge statues over the top of a city.
So that's it. Like, Shinji killed the angel, but he disobeyed an order.
And that's how it ends.
And then there's a little epilogue where Toji and Kensuke are in class. It's like 2 weeks.
That's right, yeah.
It's like another 2 weeks later.
And Shinji hasn't been in.
And we're like, haven't seen Shinji for a while. And Toji's feeling really guilty.
Yeah, and Kensuke gives him Shinji's number.
Gives it a phone number.
He's like,
thematic, bringing it full circle.
yeah, true. And he's like, if you care so much about him, why don't you give him a call?
Yeah.
And then he picks up the phone, and then I think it ends, doesn't
It
it?
just ends. And then we see a tennis ball in the rain.
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means everything, John. It's the metaphor for the S2 mind.
And then the episode ends.
So I think our main problems with this episode, I mean, don't get us wrong. A lot of the nitpicking that we're making is more for fun than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, the little things like how'd you get into the entry plug and wouldn't it leak out LCL and all this kind of stuff is like, that's all fine. This is a story and we enjoy it.
Well, yeah.
But I think the problems with this episode are sort of more like it's character motivation, isn't it?
Yeah.
And people behaving really badly and weirdly.
I think so. With the nitpicking, it's like we obviously wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love Evangelion. So it's coming from a good place. But it's funny, like, there's been so many iterations of it. There's been so many... It's been, it's just a part of, like, certainly popular culture now. It has this great reputation. But when you actually go back to the basics...
Yeah.
This isn't a good episode.
No.
I would dare say this is bordering on a bad episode, actually. But it's like the idea is good. So I feel like everything I love and remember is like the concept. I don't think the execution is very good.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Like, so much of this is rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
And then when you actually come back and watch it, and also not just forgive everything, but like, okay, yes, we loved it. This was formative for me. But you know what? I'm going to watch it this time as a discerning... 30-year-old watching a cartoon about
as an adult. I can look back and see, this is totally impractical. Who does the taxes?
Yeah. What is Nerve's budget? Seriously.
I think actually, if you take into effect the inverse square rule, those 2 children would have died.
You did say their bones would have liquidized.
Yeah, actually, no, that's a fair point. Well, I mean, I think I want to say this was a lazy episode, and I don't want to be cruel when I say that, because I know making animation was hard and they had to like cut corners and save things wherever they could,
and that's clear in this episode because there's a lot of panning static shots and with people talking, but you can't see anything moving at all.
Yeah.
But then I think all the money was spent on the battle
in
this episode at the end.
And I mean, frankly, like, it was just, in many occasions, it's just like a miracle it got made, even. Like, it always like an ongoing battle. But I think the seams are a bit more visible in this episode. It's very rough around the edges.
I think that's actually a really good way of putting it. Like,
yeah.
All of the content is great.
Yeah.
But it's where those bits of content are meant to be connecting up the seams, which is where all the nitpicking takes place. At the end of the day, they are building a world which has got a lot of really new concepts in it, and they are going some of the way to tell us about what this all means. But then in some places they just completely don't bother.
Well, here's a big thing, and I know we can talk at length about this, because let's talk about the school and the very concept of going to school in this anime.
Yeah,
because I mean, let's look at it. Like, Shinji and Rei are, as far as we know, the only 2 pilots in the world who can pilot the Evas.
And certainly the only 2 that Nerve have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but the information as presented to us, it's like they are of the utmost importance to the government, like to the world, even to the future of humanity.
Yeah.
And yet, they're both in the public school system.
Well, you summed it up really well when Toji punches Shinji, and you said it would be far more believable if 2 government agents in black suits and black sunglasses came out of nowhere, took Toji away, just dragged him off somewhere entirely.
And Toji is never seen again.
Yeah, picked up Shinji, dusted him off, and took him somewhere else.
Yeah.
To safety, basically.
Because you have him under
constant epic supervision.
Because, like, I mean, little things we do know. It's like running the EVA for like 5 minutes uses the entire output of Japan's national grid or something like that. It is one EVA costs like $15 quadrillion. Shinji is the key.
Yeah.
Like, he is
if Shinji dies, and he can because he's a fragile human, as you say, then that's it.
He's a fragile, emotionally damaged 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Like, worst case scenario, you keep him essentially a prisoner.
Yeah.
Treat him nicely. Make sure he's emotionally fit because you'd want.
But don't send him to high school.
Don't send him to high school so he can get beaten up by some tracksuit wearing jock in a dusty playground. What if Toji had punched him so hard that he
broke his neck?
Yeah, broke his neck. What if he even just got a black eye to the point where he couldn't open one of his eyes, had no depth perception,
and then suddenly an angel attacks?
Couldn't fire a weapon.
No.
Yeah, 20 million people are dead. Thanks, Toji. It's like it's just like someone dropped the ball here massively.
But it comes down to the classic anime trope of desperately trying to shoehorn a high school, and the high school dramas and hijinks that come with a high school into their story.
Yeah.
And not to go off topic, but we've recently been watching Kuromakuru.
I think we should talk about this, yeah.
I think it's worth talking about because there's a lot that's similar about Kuromakuru to Evangelion, at least in terms of the fact that they're both a mecha anime. And they both suffer from this problem.
Because in a nutshell, and we were enjoying Kuromakuru for about 4 or 5 episodes.
Just to set it up, that's a Netflix exclusive anime that recently was dropped onto Netflix.
And it's quite a cool plot. It's basically giant robots are descending from space.
Alien robots,
yeah, they are attacking, and we learn that they attacked once before in the 14th century.
In feudal Japan.
And ancient samurai defeated them.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now humanity has found a robot buried beneath a mountain, and an ancient samurai pops out of it, and he's been in suspended animation all these years.
Yeah. And
he's the only human who's ever piloted one of these things.
And he's our best chance of potentially defending us against them again, because they're coming back.
Yeah, and he goes like, this is, the world has changed so much, but I have my honor and I will defend the world. And we're like, great.
Yeah, and the animation was really good. The character designs were really good. The character motivation seemed to be pretty spot on.
No one was stupid to drive the plot forward.
No. And there's great mecha battling scenes.
Yep.
Really, really cool epic moments in the first 2 episodes. Really, really strong start. Really strong start, which is actually rare for anime.
Yeah.
Strong starts are very rare, from what we've seen anyway. And then there was episode 3. And this samurai had basically been imprisoned because they were unsure what he might do.
Because he keeps trying to escape.
He does,
which is understandable. He has no idea what's going on,
and it's also understandable that the UN would restrain him.
Yeah,
because they're afraid of him dying.
Yeah,
they know he's the key to the machine.
Yeah,
which is a perfect example here for
very
for
good
Shinji.
example.
And they're afraid that he won't have the right immunity for our diseases, and we might catch something off him. They actually say that at one point.
And they put a shock collar on him.
They do,
so they can just knock him out anytime they want.
Yeah,
but as another parallel with Shinji, they're horrible to him.
They are, even though he is their one shot and the only link to the past where this has happened before. Because they treat him like dirt.
But even if he weren't the only viable pilot for humanity's only weapon against the aliens, he is a living relic from the past.
Which is incredible. Historians would be tripping over themselves to come and talk to this guy.
Yeah, you'd be like, teach us.
Teach us of your ways!
Yeah, teach us things.
But then we discover that he's 17 years old.
Oh my God.
And so, the obvious next thing that the UN, as an intelligent governing body, decides to do is send him to high school.
It is mind-numbingly stupid. And he turns up at school, ripped. He's so muscular. And he's covered in scars because he spent his entire life fighting.
Yeah.
And I guess by the standards of feudal society, he would be an adult at the age of 17.
And don't they cut his hair without his permission as well? Which means something to him.
Yeah, I think
And they're just
so.
like, oh, you can't have hair like that at school. Chop. He's like, what?
But he doesn't wear a shirt. Like, he wears like a modified version of a school uniform, which shows off his ripped, his glistening muscles. Yeah. And it's like, here's your new classmate. And, and you're like, hello, nice to meet you. I will be studying with you. And it's like, no, why?
And then episode 3 just falls into every trope. He sits in protagonist's window.
Yeah.
He gets embarrassed by the fact that he's in the same class as the girl who we'd previously met in earlier the episode. He ends up finding out, to both of their embarrassment, that they're living in the same house together, and there's a lot of embarrassment.
It's like a sitcom.
There's an almost there's an embarrassing bathroom scene where she sees him without any pants on. She gives him some boxes, but he doesn't know what to do with them, so he wears a towel instead. And it's all just played for that same
all the girls
crap.
are crushing on him.
Yeah, and they're all really cute, and
this is a fine example, because then you learn that like another one of her classmates, like as the main girl who discovers the samurai, one of their classmates, just like this tiny, like cute looking blonde, like 16-year-old girl, is also like a pilot of mech.
Yeah.
And
of mech.
And it's like, here's the sitcom scenario. It's like every day, oh, I'm going to be late for class. Oh, I hope I got my homework done in time. I hope Senpai notices me. And then the great big alarm flashes. I'm like, oh, got to go save the world.
With a piece of toast in my mouth.
And helicopters like descend, pick him up.
Yeah, and everyone goes, ooh!
It is ridiculous. If you are in, I guess let's call it war. If you are in a state of war,
which they are,
war has been declared, aliens are attacking, you would not go through the rigmarole.
There's just no point at all.
Why send these kids to school?
And not only that, but the culture shock, which we talk about a lot. Well, we talked about because we stopped watching Kuromakuro like definitively at that point.
So stupid.
It was just ridiculous, and I'm just refused to watch any more of it. But there was no respect for his culture shock. He did not understand a lot about this world. He thought a lot of what was going on around him was magic, and he thought that everyone around him were Oni or demons. And then they send him to high school, which is potentially the worst place to go for a man who is essentially recovering from the biggest case of PTSD and culture shock that I can even imagine.
Yeah, no one could.
There was no respect.
That, yeah.
There was no respect for what this man might be going through psychologically.
This man has no idea what electricity is.
No.
What a light is. You know, like he doesn't understand like even basic airs and graces.
No.
And they're like, go to class. Lesson 1.
You've got to.
Quantum physics.
And their reasoning in the show was, and we're getting really off topic here, but we'll finish it up.
There's a point here.
Yeah. Their reasoning in the show was, well, he's 17, so he has to go to school because that's the law. It's like, I don't think your law took into account the idea that you might find a 700-year-old preserved in time samurai from the past. I don't think the law had that, so don't worry about it.
But it's like, he doesn't know what a car is. Like, he could step onto a street and get run over by a car.
Yeah.
Like, you would, for his own protection and the hope of humanity,
maybe
you would keep him, like make him comfortable.
Yeah.
Ease him in gently, but keep and learn from him.
Yeah.
No one has ever sat this guy down and said, hey, you've met these aliens before. What's their deal? Like, who do they answer to? What do they want?
No one asks any of this stuff.
Teach us.
But, I mean, in many ways, actually, this makes us realise that Evangelion does that slightly better.
Maybe, yeah.
Hilariously. I mean, it doesn't do it anywhere near as badly as Kuromakuro, which makes an utter hack of it, to be totally honest. It ruined all the potential it had in 3 episodes, which is very frustruting, because I really thought that could be a new thing to watch. But 9 times out of 10, we're getting disappointed by anime.
Because we watch a lot of... we try
things out.
We watch a lot of new episodes or series of anime on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, and Netflix.
And we generally see how long we can stomach them, because it's a completely different industry. They produce a lot of animation.
Yeah,
so
huge amounts.
It's like the filters aren't quite the same. You will get brilliant stuff, you'll get bad stuff. It's just the fact that an animated series got made is by no means a measure of quality.
No, not at all.
But the amount of anime we see try and give up on within an episode, within a few minutes, because it is just the same old tropes. It's just, here's a school. It's either a school or a military academy.
Yeah.
And it's just because...
And a military academy is really just a school.
Yeah. And they love uniforms.
They really do.
It's like, as long as every anime has got a unique uniform, they could be superhuman, saving the planet, but they've got to get back to home ec before 3 p.m. just so we can have some sexy dramas and will the cute girl notice me?
And I mean, maybe the answer to all of this is that they're not for us. Maybe
Maybe so.
everyone loves this. Everyone is aching for that high school bit of the anime, and we're the only ones, or in a very small minority.
This is the point. Like maybe the first anime to go, like, set it in a school.
Yeah.
Hijinks. Teenage drama. Maybe the first anime to do that was revolutionary. But like when 300 animes are produced every year about a school where kids have generic superpowers or pilot mechs, it's so redundant.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm not going to buy that, because some of the biggest and most successful Japanese animation properties that have come out in the last, say, 20, 30 years, if you take the biggest ones, and Evangelion would be one of those.
Yeah.
Take, like, Bleach, Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, those sorts of things. Is there a high school in any of those? No. Like, categorically not in any of them. And yet they all star 16 to 18-year-olds as their main characters. Yeah. Pretty much all of them. You do see some school shots in Bleach.
I was just thinking about,
but it's not school-centric.
It's not formulaic.
No, that's a good point.
That's the thing. Like...
Yeah, and it doesn't... Ichigo is a high schooler, but that isn't made part of the story. Whereas Kurumakuru, it felt so like, okay, we've got all the cool sci-fi stuff out of the way. Let's get it back in the school. That's where it needs to be. It needs to be back in the school.
And the formula is going to be hijinks, class, alarm, mech battle, freeze frame.
And maybe it's unfair to not watch all of it and assume what it's going to be, but I think it is.
Yeah, maybe we get proved completely wrong. So after this massive rant about Kurumakuru, that you can see our thoughts on this and how... Yeah. Because clearly anime audiences do apparently appreciate the school drama. It's like it's like pantomime. It's like a staple, a trope, if you will.
Yeah.
You can see why we feel the way about Shinji going to school.
Yeah.
Because it comes across as a bit ridiculous.
I think. Yeah, I mean, not only is it a bit ridiculous in a post-apocalyptic world to be focusing that much on something so mundane and domestic as school, but I think even if they wanted the school to be part of Evangelion, I would maybe accept that, because he is a kid and they're trying to carry on with life as normal after the apocalypse and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. I think it's just respecting Shinji a little bit more as something of value is maybe what's letting us down. And Kurumakuru is a good way of highlighting how, they cannot respect their own protagonist to the extent that they send him to school, even though he didn't need to.
The adults are terrible.
But at least in Shinji's case, like, he already was a high schooler. It's conceivable that even though he's become... It's ridiculous to conceive this, but it's conceivable that even if he may then become an Eva pilot, he would then still go to school.
Yeah.
Because maybe angel battles were months between each other, which they kind of are in some cases. I know maybe weeks is maybe better than months.
I think,
have a bodyguard.
I don't want to get into the realm of spoilers, but I think it's mentioned later in the series that the school itself might be
play a part in the Marduk
in
Institute
some way.
Stuff.
But even so, like, it doesn't quite ring true, and I think it could be excused. I think a lot could be excused with a bit, even just a few throwaway lines as a bit of an explanation.
But I think the fact that we have to say it could be excused rather than is it needed at all, and I think that's the big question here, is that someone made a decision, we need to get a high school into this.
Yeah.
Evangelion as a story could be told without us ever seeing the school. And we could assume that maybe Shinji was going to school. In between we see colossal mech battles. Maybe he was going to school. He is of schooling age, so maybe he would be. But there seems to be a deliberate, and in Kurumakuru this illustrates it really well because it's so jammed in, but there seems to be a very deliberate attempt to get a school in.
Yeah, and not just any school,
but
a traditional
school.
Japanese high school. Because, I mean, could you do it differently? How about this as a scenario? Shinji does go to school, but it's a weird researchy science school run by government teachers and technicians who are monitoring the kids constantly.
Which could add more to the conspiracy and the unusualness of the world post-apocalypse.
Give them weird uniforms, like they're not wearing traditional school uniforms. Like, scientists are teaching them stuff but constantly monitoring them. It's one situation where a military-style academy would have actually made more sense.
And also, it's like playing into your world. You've created a new world here. Why are you giving us something so mundane and domestic that we've seen 1,000 times before? And I mean, when I held up Naruto and Bleach and all that as an example of schools, I was actually incorrect, because Naruto does have school in it. They're all at ninja school.
Yeah.
But the whole point is, that's a ninja school. It's a very unusual school. It's very different. It doesn't even have a classroom laid out the way you'd classically expect a classroom to be. This is an opportunity to tell a story where new things are
Yeah.
and new things happen. And for some reason, we just get jammed into the same old school
I think
again.
this is a broken bit of world building.
Yeah.
Because the world has clearly undergone massive changes. So, but why then is a secondary school utterly the same?
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have the same resources. The government wouldn't even be the same. And it's just this idea that, children really would be precious in this reduced...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it wouldn't... I can't believe that this school would exist.
No.
It doesn't fit with the world. And this is the thing we don't understand. We don't understand what the general population thinks or understands of any of this.
No.
If all these children, even if like we extend it and we say that like this school is part of the Marduke Institute, they are very important, they could all be connected to the nerve.
They're all potentials.
I don't think you'd run it like a regular school.
No,
I think it would be under lock and key. It would look like a weird research facility.
And I mean, when I'm creating stories, certainly, and I don't want to make this all about me, but
Well, it kind of is.
It kind of is. I see every opportunity as a moment that I'm going to have to create in a story, as an opportunity to do something kind of exciting and unusual.
Yeah.
Mainly because I've got to draw it.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to draw something boring.
No.
I wouldn't want to draw just an everyday classroom. So if my story engineered itself to a point where there had to be a school, that they had to be at school, and maybe the school was full of potential pilots or something like that, so I could make it more interesting in that way, I would certainly do everything I could to visually make the school more interesting.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't play into the kind of things that kids do at school every day, because they see that every day at school.
Well, no, like, and
So why?
we see, and it's wanting to have your cake and eat it too, because they desperately, you wanting to make a mecha anime, but clearly, and with some amazing themes in it.
Oh, yeah.
But clearly, like, high school junk sells well or responds well.
Maybe that's it.
But it'd be like, if it'd be the same, I think, and maybe this is a more jarring example, but you have Seven String, which is about this crazy fantasy world.
Yeah.
And Zach goes off on adventures.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you were doing something a bit more like this, and you were like, well, Zach has crazy adventures, has like amazing guitar sword, but he also has to attend school.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of drama and romance. If he went to a Melodian school,
Yeah.
which in your world, Melodia would not look like a traditional high school.
That's exactly my point.
The fashion in your world is completely different.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, that's a radical example because Seven String is a fantasy world.
Yeah.
But
If you're going to do a fantasy world and you're going to have a school in it, why is your school not a fantasy school of some kind?
And it's like, here we have a post-apocalyptic, technologically advanced world where these children are vital to the future of the planet.
Yeah.
Why then do they go to a
regular,
bog standard 20th
protected
century school?
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't jar. It jars, rather. It doesn't fit.
Mesh. Yeah, it doesn't work.
So that's odd.
Yeah, and I think maybe we're being particularly hard on this episode because it brought back some of the scars from Kurumakura. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is actually better than Kurumakura overall.
Yes.
And our issues are less with the overall thematic wonder of Evangelion, but more on the little rivets and bits that are meant to connect all those pieces of crazy, massive ideas together and just fail.
I wonder if it's because, like, because we talked about some of the cost-cutting things, about how, like, the animation isn't amazing in this episode, and how, if you were running a series of a day back in the day, you're thinking like, well, we've got to save money for fight scenes, we've got to kind of like budget and make do where we can, and can we do this scene a bit differently? Maybe it's like, maybe this is like why tropes sometimes can be good things, where it's like we need a reliable framework to hang the crazy. This is me trying to be charitable now, because I know I don't want to sound negative on this, but it's like
no, I think it's fair, and I think some people maybe who aren't storytellers themselves will maybe go, oh, why do these same tropes keep showing up in stories over and over again? And sometimes it's basically like it's a toolbox, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you want to tell a certain kind of story, and maybe there are two things about your story that are incredibly unique and special, but for your story to work you need 20 things in total. So your two things, which are the two that you'll sell it on, and for maybe in my case in Seven String it's like, wow, a guitar sword or a world that's themed entirely around music, but at the end of the day I need 18 other things to operate my story with.
Yeah.
And some of those have to be things we've seen before. They just have to be, because I'm dealing with people who have relationships, and if everything was completely different to what we knew and loved about the world, you wouldn't be able to relate to my story at all. So tropes occur when people have to use some of the tools that people have used before in order to communicate similar concepts.
It's like if you want them to, it's kind of like if you want to accept a big lie. You got to give them a small lie to warm them up to it, or something like that. So
yeah, exactly. And it's like the fictional starter. It's like in a meal.
Yeah.
You've got to warm them up.
a little aperitif. Yeah, a
Ah,
little
right. I
taster.
see that he's going to be that kind of character.
Yeah.
But then you throw the curveball later on. Oh, right. But he can do this.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've
I've
seen
never
that before.
piloted a mech before, but I do know what it's like to go through school.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't know. Should we maybe mention the? We're not going to talk about this as long, I'm sure, but like we talked about, we watched the dub.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Hot damn,
Toji Suzuhara's voice.
not good.
not good.
It's not great. I think I would probably put a vote in for continuing with the subtitles.
I think
from
so.
This point on.
I think I basically just clicked play and didn't think.
No, we
this
just didn't.
time.
We didn't think about it. Which I think it's how we've kind of alternated because we just
flip-flopped,
haven't been thinking about it. But
Yeah, sub for the future. Plus also sub because we're more likely to get more complex plot elements, I think, through the sub than we are through the dub. But his voice acting is atrocious. Like it's
really bad. Like I don't know what's going on there.
It's like he phoned it in almost literally. Like he didn't come into the studio.
It's like they don't. It's not that he is putting on a weird accent, but it's not even that. It's like he talks and delivers the lines like an alien.
Yeah.
Like someone who's never encountered.
Not like someone in a conversation.
Yeah.
Because doesn't he say at one point, it's like, my sister.
Yeah, it's like, so where have you been? What happened? Did you get injured? And he's like, I can't even do it. It's so weird.
It's
like,
really long, drawn-out syllables.
My sister
was hurt in the attack.
In the attack. It's like William Shatner.
Yeah, in the attack.
It's just bad. And I have this thing where I do, unless it's like a really good voice acting, like I think Cowboy Bebop is a fine example of an amazing English dub.
Mm.
But I tend to I do prefer watching anime with subtitles, which isn't me being like, oh yes, you've never
No, but I agree.
You've never really appreciated it until you've read.
It's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with like the arty fartiness of the whole thing.
I find, and this is kind of like part of the magic of anime in this weird way. I find it's a bit less silly with the Japanese, and this is bizarre because the voice actors when you're watching it and you can hear the Japanese audio, it's like I can't understand what you're saying.
No,
obviously because I don't speak Japanese. I can read it, but there's so much like emotion in the voice acting, and it's like I can appreciate this as another culture's art form.
It sort of legitimizes the foreignness of it. Do you know what I mean? Like the instant you put English dubbed voices onto it, it's something like this could just be an English cartoon. Yeah, and as such, it's kind of weird.
But there's also,
if you know it's Japanese, then it's like, oh, it's Japanese.
But there's this slight culture. It is that slight disconnect, and it's like, and maybe I've heard some very good English dubs.
Oh yeah.
But when I hear these bad English dubs, it just seems nobody talks like that.
No,
you'll have this character who's meant to be 16, typical like protagonist, spiky hair, looks cool, and the voice is just like, what the heck is that? Are you 30? Like how? Yeah. What is that voice? I'm just like, I find the tone, the delivery, it's really off sometimes.
Yeah. And my big thing with sub versus dub is a lot of anime has complex interpretable themes, which usually are due to their language, I think, being able to infer so much more through tonal delivery and various other things like that. So a lot of what ends up coming through to us as kind of weird and sort of up for interpretation is maybe communicated if you actually understand not Japanese, not translated, but if you truly are fluent in and understand Japanese, i.e. you are a Japanese person, I think a lot of these more complex ideas are communicated. And the dub is restricted in time to have to fit some English talking into the same amount of time that a Japanese person spoke. But a sub is not restricted by that. So even if a character says 3 Japanese words and a whole sentence comes up in the sub, at least you get a better chance at really understanding what someone is saying than in the dub.
Do you think it's like another thing might be how the animation industry is regarded in either culture? Because it's very highly respected in Japan. Yeah. And there is a lot of work going. So there is an impetus to be good at your craft and you could become a master voice actor.
Yeah, there's a big industry for that.
And we have that in the West. We really do. But the majority of our cartoons are funny.
Yes, true.
They're kind of humour-based.
Less serious.
And I think you get this disconnect where you can have... It would be a totally respectable profession to be a serious cartoon voice actor in Japan. But then when we get kind of like the dubs over on our end, it's like they're never sure how to play it.
Almost how to deliver it, yeah.
It becomes like very camp, very kind of like...
kitsch.
Kitsch. Like I'm not taking this seriously kind of... There's a less emotion, I feel.
And then maybe the better dubs that we've heard in our lives are from people and studios who get it and get that they're meant to be delivering this, basically po-faced. Like, take this seriously, because it's not a cartoon. You take something like Ghost in the Shell, that is a grown-up adult sci-fi movie, and as much as there is some also weird confusion and interpretable themes in that as well, again, maybe because of translation issues, overall, that is not for kids at all and should be played seriously.
Yeah.
It's not funny. Literally at any point. I don't think there is a joke in Ghost in the Shell. Imagine if there was.
It's a laugh a minute, I gotta say.
Pikachu crops up at one point with cybernetic enhancements.
His head splits open. A little lightning cannon comes out.
Thunderbolt.
But there we go.
Yeah. So it wasn't the strongest episode. I do wonder whether, due to some of the animation lacking thereof, that maybe the next episode might be a bit of an up, because we've had a down. I noticed that a lot in anime. You'll get the weak episode, and the next episode will be full of amazing dynamic fight sequences.
I've got to say, I remember thinking back to the series, because I know, we're still in the territory of... Because when they did the Rebuild movies, which we will get to...
We will.
Of course, they group maybe, the first 4 or 5 episodes as one movie.
Yeah.
And I seem to remember, I always feel like I'm trying to get past this point, because I feel like Ramiel, the giant diamond angel who we have coming up, that always, for me, was one of the early highlights. And I seem to remember that's when the series finally kind of...
And also Ribbon Arms.
Yeah. Oh, now that's amazing, and I hope that's still as good as I remember.
I hope so too.
I think the series definitely gets better.
Yeah.
And I just remember my recollection of this episode. It wasn't quite as... Watching it again, I don't think it's a great episode.
No. My
memories were a bit kinder, but I never cared for the angel.
I remember as a kid, I used to, because I had all of these on DVD. I say kid, I was 17, 18 years old when I was buying these on DVD. Gradually collecting them with the money that I had, kind of thing. It wasn't pocket money, but it was something close to that. And there were a few episodes that I would go back to and watch myself.
Yeah.
Or if a friend came over and they were like, "What's this Evangelion thing?" I would choose these episodes as ones to show them.
Yes.
And it was never one of the first 3.
No.
I never used... And I think maybe even as a kid, and as we said earlier, we were less discerning, we didn't notice any of these nitpicking issues. Even as a kid, I still knew not to show these episodes, to try and introduce someone to it.
Yeah.
Because I remember how I got into Evangelion was catching an episode of it randomly on a late night version of Cartoon Network or something like that.
Yeah.
They used to show weird anime sometimes late at night. And so I didn't start from the beginning either. I got hooked on the idea of Evangelion, i.e. the idea of giant biblical mechs fighting each other in the apocalypse, from probably episode 9 or 10 or something. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that episode 1 is a good place to start, hilariously, unless you've already got on board, which we have.
But also, it's in any series, I guess it's always the first and last episodes which are going to make the most impact on you.
Yeah.
Or the ones you remember most,
Definitely,
at least.
yeah.
So I'm most excited in rewatching this, in us working our way through the series, in getting to those middle episodes.
Yes, yeah.
Because I feel like they're the ones that get the least love, and I want to experience them again.
I know there's one for sure that I always used to go for, which was when Ava Unit 2 fights on battleships in the ocean.
Yeah.
I really liked that episode. I want to see that. Yeah, that was one I'd always wheel out and show people, this is Evangelion.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that still stands up. Because...
I know. I can't wait to get to that area. That's going to be fantastic.
I think there's a golden age in the middle, and I think that's what we need to get.
It had to find its feet, because it's weird. Because from what we know of the troubled history of Evangelion, maybe a rocky start, finds its feet, loses its way again.
Absolutely. The last few episodes are horrendous, apparently.
It gets endlessly remade for 20 years, and then now it's the Rebuild movies.
Yeah. And
the 4th one may never get made, for all we know.
Yeah, goodness me.
They have no schedule.
We haven't even watched 3.33 yet. It's on the shelf here, isn't it? But...
that will be our reward.
Yeah.
When we get to the
reward,
end of this.
question mark?
Yeah. Oh,
it might be great. It might be great.
But it's weird. There's got to be something. It's weird, isn't it? Talking about it, you realise just how many flaws this series has, and yet we're watching. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love it.
No. And I think that's what's so weird about it. It's a paradox that we love it overall.
Yeah.
But I think maybe our love for it allows us to want to, help it almost.
Yeah.
Just go through and just we love you, but seriously, this. And this?
Yeah, because we're not going to do a Kurumakuru rewatch podcast.
Ain't no way.
No,
I mean, we haven't even watched it.
And it's so bizarre because Kurumakuru is arguably better written, better voice acted,
certainly better animated,
and yet, just not the magic that makes me want to.
No, I mean, a part of me does wonder whether we were too harsh, and that episode 4 and 5, maybe we won't see any more school.
Maybe it gets better.
Maybe there was an episode where he was at school just to for some reason add that in.
Yeah.
But maybe there was just no more school.
But all the promo images show them wearing school uniforms,
classrooms and everything. I don't buy it. I think you're right.
Well, anyway, look, should we come
up.
to the final stage where we assign scores to this episode?
Yes.
I have the previous scores from previous episodes.
Okay.
So we're going to judge this episode on Shinji-ness.
Yes.
Which is by the measure of how Shinji Ikari is.
Yeah.
And the impact, which is just the overall score for the episode.
Yeah.
So do you want a comparison?
So shall we start? Yeah, so tell us what we did for the last episode.
So
then.
episode 1 was a Shinji score of 3.
Yeah.
Because Shinji was still quite human at that point. And we gave it an impact of 7.
Okay.
7 out of 10.
Yeah,
not
good
bad
strong
episode.
start.
Episode 2, 4 out of 10 Shinjis.
Right.
And we gave it a 5 out of 10
Okay.
in terms of impact. So episode 2 was very much like a middle run.
Okay, so shall we do impact?
Yeah, I think.
Or shall we do it Shinji first?
Impact?
Impact first. Okay.
I know what I'm going for. Oh,
yeah,
I'm torn now. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think I know what I'm going for. Because you've got to bear in, I've got to kind of scope out what the rest of the series might do.
Yeah, you got to think about where it's going. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give it. I'm going to be harder. I'm going to give it a 2.
Right, that is harder than me. I was going to give it a 3.
Okay.
So shall we say 2.5?
2.5.
Okay.
Okay, we'll balance that out as a
I'm happy with
2.5.
that.
We could round it up to a 3 if you want, because my scoring system may not accommodate half notes.
Okay.
So we'll be kind. We'll round it up and say...
Always be kind, because we love it.
Yeah, 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
How Shinji is this episode? Bear in mind, we got 4 Shinjis last episode.
It's definitely more Shinji than the last episode.
This is very Shinji.
It is very Shinji.
He has problems. He's very
morose, as you say.
withdrawn.
Yeah. I think he'll certainly get a lot more Shinji than this. So I think that's worth bearing in mind.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we need to make a significant leap from the last episode. So I'm going to say... I'm going to say 6.
Oh, yeah.
I know it gets worse.
We know it gets... Yeah. I think I'll agree with you. I think I'll give it a 6 as well.
Yeah?
6 for Shinji-ness is 6.
Impact
is 3.
Yeah.
So... It may not be a great episode, but Shinji's getting more Shinji.
Shinji,
and that's what we watch it for.
Is that a bonus?
We watch it for the trauma of a 14-year-old boy. That's...
To be fair, like, so much of the Shinji-ness is imparted by the adults being utter bastards.
That is a revelation,
yeah.
actually.
So it's important for me when I'm judging the Shinji-ness of an episode, like, what is the self-inflicted amount? Because people being mean to him doesn't add to the Shinji-ness. It's how mired in his own self-pity and hatred he is. So I think that's why I gave it a 6. For this episode, because as much as there was a lot of Shinji-ness, it didn't all come from him.
He's almost a different character from the previous episode. Or the first episode where we said he had quite a bit of a backbone, actually.
I feel like this is the first episode that introduces the Shinji-ness.
Yeah, the idea that
because I remember when I was first watching it, and I'd watched 1 and 2, I wasn't prepared for how Shinji he was going to become. I was like, oh, this is the protagonist. He's probably going to get stronger. But if anything, it is literally the opposite. He gets worse.
It's really weird watching it again and realizing just how terrible everyone is to him.
Yeah,
but
also how terrible he is to himself.
True, but it's like you can see it. Maybe that if he'd been in a much more supportive environment, it's like everyone around him is broken in their own little way.
Yeah,
and they just seem to take it out on him.
To bring in another anime, and then we'll round this off to compare it with Gurren Lagann, which we've been watching recently, does literally the opposite thing. Like Shimon, who is arguably the main character of that, goes on an arc that rises. He starts as a very meek, very shy, very non-self-confident person, but with obviously a lot of skill and potential. And the whole story is Shimon's rise to confidence and becoming something that basically, dwarfing Kamina eventually.
It's a fine comparison, actually.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's a hero you can really root for and really get behind.
Yeah.
And the big thing I've always struggled with Evangelion is, how are we meant to root for Shinji? Like, are we meant to root for Shinji? Who are we rooting for? Is there anyone to root for? I'm someone, and I know you know this, who really loves heroes. And every story doesn't have to have a hero. Every story doesn't have to have the sword-wielding, courageous Link character who runs in and saves the day regardless of his own life.
Yeah.
But I really love those characters, and a lot of the stories I really get drawn to are ones with strong, leading, heroic characters, courageous characters.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I know it reaches a point where when they introduce a couple more characters who are coming up, and when there's almost a point, I seem to recall, where they're functioning fairly well.
Yes, you're right.
Like, it almost gets to a point where everyone is becoming a bit more emotionally balanced
and they're helping each other a bit.
Yeah.
Bit of banter still, but and Shinji's still on the receiving end of a few things, but he's a bit more settled.
But then it
all goes
to heck again. So it's interesting. Like it's like an exercise in broken people.
Yeah,
really.
and I guess that's what this story is about. We don't necessarily have a hero to root for. This is instead a psychological analysis of what it would mean for a child to pilot a giant robot. Maybe that's what it is. That's fine. That's fine.
But
hey, still
roller coaster of emotion.
Oh yes.
Should we call it a day then?
Let's do it. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it's been grand. We do the traditional sign out. Okay, so I guess this has been Nich and Jon is this Evangelion episode 3.
Yep.
We've got a nice little schedule now, so we're going to be updating nice and regularly. And remember, however bad you might have it. No. How did it go?
However bad it may be for you?
Yeah, however bad it may be for you, you could always be Shinji Ikari. This podcast, and others like it, is made possible thanks to our wonderful backers on Patreon. To support Big Punch Studios as we make comics like Afterlife Thinking 7-String, games like Sandwich Masters, and podcasts like the one you've just been listening to, head on over to www.patreon.com/Big Punch Studios. For just $5 a month, not only will you help make everything we do a reality, but we'll also send you 4 copies of Big Punch magazine a year. That's over 180 full-colour pages of comic action, featuring Cuckoos, Orb, 99 Swords and Catamaran, delivered straight to your door. This has been a Big Punch Studios production. For all things Big Punch, be sure to head on over to www.bigpunchstudios.com.